In the depths of an uncharted ocean, the legendary Virgin Island promises secrets of immortality. Wang, driven by the mystery of his father's disappearance, joins an expedition that leads him to fierce captors and heart-wrenching choices. In moments of peril, who will decide what sacrifices are worth making? Can love truly triumph over the deepest moral dilemmas? If you want to dive into real stories of parallel realities every day, in enigmatic, technological worlds that are completely different from our planet, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Well, let's go. In a small, windswept coastal town, where the azure waves met the sandy beach, the air was thick with salt and whispers of adventure. The stories carried on the breeze spoke of an enigmatic land known only as the Virgin Island. Legends hovered like mist over the town, recounting tales of its elusive paradise, a place sought after by countless souls yet reached by only a daring few. These stories were seasoned with spices of mystery, suggesting that the island held the keys to immortality, treasures beyond imagination, and enigmas that beckoned to those bold enough to seek them. Wang, a young man with dark, inquisitive eyes and an untamed spirit reflecting his heritage, found himself captivated by these tales more profoundly than most. With a skilled mind for exploration, he carried the weight of a family legacy shadowed by loss. Years ago, his father, a celebrated explorer and adventurer renowned for his zeal for discovery, vanished without a trace during an ill-fated expedition to the very same island. Wang's life had changed the moment his father did not return. What remained was a hollow space filled with questions craving answers. The weight of his father's disappearance planted a seed of determination deep within Wang's heart. Each story he heard from the aging fishermen and spirited townsfolk only stoked the flames of his desire to uncover the truth. The absence of closure compelled him to embark on a journey into the unknown, where he hoped to not only discover the secrets of Virgin Island but also to bring to light the secrets surrounding his father's fate. It was during a particularly vivid sunset, the golden light cascading over the restless waters, that the decision crystallized within him. He would join Mr. Peng's expedition, a renowned yet scrupulous captain known for his successful voyages into the heart of the ocean's mysteries. The very thought of stepping aboard Peng's vessel and sailing into the realm of legends filled Wang with both trepidation and exhilaration. And he would not be alone. Yun, a freshly minted navigator with a sharp mind and a heart of gold, had been Wang's confidant since childhood. With his easy smile and determination, Yun accepted Wang's call to adventure without hesitation. The two friends shared a bond forged through countless dreams of exploration and reverie. The ocean called to them, and as they prepared for the expedition, they felt an exhilarating sense of purpose wash over them. They stood on the brink of a journey that would challenge their strongest convictions while testing the depth of their friendship. As the day of departure approached, the quaint town bustled with excitement. Local merchants and fishermen spoke in hushed tones about the impending expedition, casting cautious glances towards the horizon. Many wished Wang and Yun good fortune, yet, mingled within those well wishes were undercurrents of concern. They all understood the inherent risks involved in seeking Virgin Island, a land rumor had it was shrouded in danger and mystery, where countless others had sought riches and glory only to meet their doom. Setting sail at dawn, the sky stretched a vast canvas of orange and lavender. The vessel, the Sea Serpent, was a sturdy ship equipped for the turbulent waters ahead. As the anchor was lifted, and they ventured further into the indigo expanse, the friends felt the thrill of adventure intertwining with an intimidating fate. Every member of the crew was assigned their role. They were a band of explorers, united by curiosity and ambition but threaded with diverging motivations. Each sailor carried hidden fears, ambitions, and a backstory that would unfold along the journey. Tension crackled through the air like electricity, the ocean responding with waves that slapped against the hull, as if warning them of the fate that lay ahead. Wang steered the ship with a firm grip, the salt spray stinging his face as Yun meticulously navigated the star-studded sky, relying on ancient maps and the whispers of lost mariners. The friendship between the two deepened amidst adversity, their dreams pairing to blaze a path into the unknown. However, in the depths of the ocean, an unseen menace lurked, waiting for the moment to strike. Whispers of unsettling phenomena had been reported in the waters surrounding Virgin Island. Sailors had spoken of eerie lights flickering beneath the surface, and the ghostly silhouettes of long-lost ships that seemed to disappear into the blue abyss. Tales of sea serpents and strange whirlpools haunted many a sailor's dreams, creating an atmosphere thick with unease, for those who ventured too far into the heart of that ocean often never returned. As the sea serpent sailed further into the uncharted waters, the spiral of danger gathered momentum around them. They soon encountered shifting currents and tempestuous storms that rose out of seemingly calm waters. Clouds boiled in the sky, obscuring the moonlight and casting the voyage into shadow. Each gust of wind that tore through the sails felt like nature itself protesting against their ambition. Treacherous waves crashed against the hull, turning the tranquil sea into a voracious whirlpool of chaos. Yet, in the eye of the storm, Wang stood resolute. His heart beat to the rhythm of courage, emboldened by the memory of his father, the explorer who had once danced with the tempest. The connection reinforced his determination, propelling him onward through the deluge with unwavering strength. Meanwhile, Yun showcased extraordinary resolve, guiding the ship through treacherous gale-force winds with remarkable precision. The scars of the storm etched themselves into their journey, manifesting in their hearts as they battled nature's wrath. Time slipped through their fingers, the days merging into nights, and their resolve shaken by grueling conditions and dwindling supplies. The horizon that once seemed a distant dream morphed into a mirage, dancing tantalizingly, out of reach. With each passing moment, doubt crept in, wrapping around Wang's thoughts. Had his ambition led them astray? Would he echo his father's fate, swept away by hungry waves, never to be known again? Wang could not afford to reflect on such thoughts for long. They pushed through the storm, navigating perilous paths crafted by the capricious moods of the ocean. Legends loomed like shadows around them, both inspiring and foreboding. The crew fought through exhaustion and despair, yet Wang's determination did not waver. He was resolute in his belief that the truth awaited them beyond the endless depths. Just as hope began to flicker like a dim candle on the verge of extinguishing, an unexpected stillness fell over the ocean. In the distance, a shape emerged, absent but present, a form cloaked in the mist rising from the water, which beckoned them closer with an unfamiliar allure. Their souls strained against the bow of the ship, yearning to uncover whatever destiny awaited them at the edge of the horizon. As they sailed closer, with hearts pounding and breath held, an ancient energy pulsed from within the depths as ethereal lights began to shimmer just below the surface. Wonders unfurled, casting luminous reflections against the ship, while the crew stood in spellbound silence. The outline of Virgin Island glimmered under the pale light of dawn as it emerged from the misty embrace of the ocean. Its lush greenery and crystalline waters looked like a mirage to those weary sailors who had weathered relentless storms and battled their innermost demons during the arduous journey to reach this fabled land. For Wang, it was not merely an island, it was a beacon of hope, a whisper from the depths of his past that promised answers to mysteries left unresolved since his father vanished. Yet little did he know, this paradise veiled deep-rooted dangers masked by its idyllic surface. As their small vessel glided toward the shore, excitement swelled in Wang's chest, momentarily extinguishing the gnawing anxieties stemming from the unknown encounters that awaited them. His heart raced with the thrill of discovery while the anticipation of fatherly reunion danced on the fringes of his thoughts. Yun stood resolutely at his side, gripping the navigation wheel and staring into the azure expanse that separated them from the island. The vessel's hull ground softly against the pristine sand, interrupting the peaceful melody of waves lapping the shore. The island's allure quickly turned ominous as an eerie silence enveloped the newcomers. Wang's skin prickled with unease like the electric tingle of static before a storm. The smooth, gold-like texture beneath their feet was a stark contrast to the darkening sky above. Foreboding clouds hovered on the horizon. Moments after stepping ashore, the tranquility shattered. A rustling sound emerged from the dense foliage lining the beach, swiftly morphing into the thunderous march of the clan warriors. These fierce women of the ancient tribe materialized from the shadows, their forms draped in captivating garments woven from iridescent fibers, each thread shimmering with hues of emerald and sapphires that reflected their intimate connection to the island's abundant nature. They moved like wind-blown grass, synchronized and powerful, armed with magnificent staves clad in intricate carvings that told the stories of their ancestors. With a threatening intensity, they surrounded Wang and Yun, binding them in chains that felt like serpents coiling tightly, restricting their movements with a profound sense of helplessness. As the clan's patriarch stepped forward, her presence cast a shadow over the twins. Clad in a beautifully adorned cloak adorned with feathers and shells, she was both majestic and intimidating, her wisdom evident in the deep lines that framed her weathered face, eyes like two piercing sapphires scrutinizing the intruders. "You stand on sacred ground," her voice resonated, echoing the weight of centuries. With every word, absolute authority dripped like a heavy rain, a reminder of the relentless guardianship the clan had over the island. "Few outsiders have dared to intrude upon our sanctum, and those who did swiftly met with tragic ends. Why have you forged this reckless path?" Caught between fear and an undeniable urge to explain their quest, Wang stammered as he searched for the words, each phrase tumbling over the next. "We are seekers of truth. I seek my father's fate. He was lost here many years ago." The patriarch's expression hardened, a flicker of recognition flashing in her azure gaze. With meticulous intensity, she regarded Wang, recognizing perhaps a family resemblance beneath the layers of their respective cultures. Many have searched for their lost kin, but the island does not yield its secrets easily. "What makes you think you will be any different?" A tense silence lingered between them, heavy with the weight of hopelessness and an unspoken understanding of consequence. Wang internalized the reality of his situation. The ancient magic of Virgin Island thrummed beneath their feet, but it was a force intertwined with the same chains now binding him and Yun. The irony of his pursuit, the quest for answers that had led him to captivity, conjured a bittersweet realization. Sometimes, the answers we pursue evade us more cunningly than we anticipate. Day transitioned into night, each flicker of stars above igniting a desperate yearning for freedom. Wang and Yun were confined within a dilapidated structure made of driftwood and woven vines, the air thick with the scent of salt and damp earth. The walls of their confinement exuded an aura of history. They were not merely structures, but vessels of lifetimes steeped in a legacy that resisted the tides of change. Whispers of ancient chants reverberated around them, flowing like the rhythms of the ocean. With the tribe's nighttime rituals echoing through the walls, the hairs on Wang's skin stood on edge, a cautionary reminder of the fierce devotion these women held for their island. They had inherited its enchanted power, a responsibility intertwined with immense sacrifice. As the hours slithered by, Wang and Yun discussed strategies in hushed tones, whispers cloaked in the darkness surrounding them. The challenges ahead loomed larger than mere physical barriers. What they really battled was an intricate, centuries-old network of tradition, belief, and guardianship over all Virgin Island embodied. The ethical weight of their trespass bore down upon them, blooming into moral dilemmas that twisted their intentions into something much darker than mere adventure. Should they attempt a bold escape, risking not only their lives but also potentially disturbing the equilibrium that had defined the island for eons? What if their pursuit of knowledge demanded a price too steep, a reckoning that could endanger not just themselves but the very fabric of the reality they sought to understand? Wrapped in layers of fear and uncertainty, Wang began to rethink their purpose. The myths surrounding the island whispered not of treasures or straightforward paths, but of roads leading to redemption through understanding and sacrifice. A baffling puzzle that turned their escapade into an uninvited burden. Just as Wang began to weave these thoughts together, the structure shuddered as though it sensed their deliberations. Without a warning, the clamorous sounds of villagers crescendoed outside, the celebrations growing louder as they welcomed a new dawn. The rhythm of drums pulsed through the walls, invoking ancestral spirits in a fervor that seemed to shake the earth beneath their feet. An unusual chaos unfolded as they could hear chants intermixed with laughter slithering through the gaps in the wooden planks. In an unexpected turn of events, Mu Yan, a young warrior of the clan, stoic yet riddled with conflicting emotions, carved her way through the dense throng. Known for her unparalleled skill in battles, she had a strength that resonated both in her physical prowess and her unwavering conviction. Her dark hair flowed freely, a striking contrast against her bronzed skin, and her mysterious tattoos were reminders of her victories and losses embedded deep within her soul. The young woman, however, stood at a crossroad herself, one filled with revenge for the invasion of the outsiders and the struggle between that vengeance and her innate curiosity about who they truly were. The flicker of doubt crossed her expression, a silent plea sparked empathy in her heart, leading her to question their fates. The relentless nights on Virgin Island blurred together, each infused with the insistent rustle of unseen creatures in the dense jungle and the pulsing symphony of distant waterfalls. For Wang and Yun, time had warped into a slow agony, stitched together by the threadbare fabric of whispered schemes and fervent desires for freedom. The evening sky, once a canvas of hope, now loomed dark and foreboding, casting shadows that seemed to mock their plight. Wang pondered over their dreadful situation, secure in chains but not in spirit. Their captors, a tribe steeped in a rich, mystical culture, held traditions and laws that felt archaic yet unyielding. He longed to defy the desolation surrounding them, with every flicker of his spirit ignited by the tales his father had told of adventures that defied logic. Yet, merging those tales with the somber reality around him was like mixing oil with water. They were interlopers and prisoners in a realm that did not seek their presence. Desperation became their constant companion. As Wang sat in his cell, the moonlight spilling in through the barred, wooden window panes, he envisioned the rippling green canopy of trees outside. Each glimmer reflected fragments of the boldness he needed, yet each reflection reminded him of the limits repressing him. Yun's soft murmurs filled the air as he, too, engaged in the arduous mental exercise of conspiracy. Together, they found solace in their shared determination, a lifeline amidst the oppressive binds of their captivity. The duo committed the landscape to memory, a task that felt as compelling as it was futile. The murmurs of tides reached their ears, a sound filled with memories of the ocean waves crashing onto familiar shores. When Wang contributed his observations about the traps that spanned the jungle like dark veins waiting to constrict unwary travelers, Yun's projected confidence seemed unwavering. But calamity struck shortly after. In the dark heart of the night, while they stealthily navigated their surroundings, Yun's foot caught on a snare, a crude mechanism woven with indigenous foresight designed to entrap any trespasser with the skill of a hunter. A gut-wrenching scream pierced the night, sending birds fluttering from branches and causing an avalanche of panic to surge through Wang. He instinctively darted toward the direction of the sound, driven by adrenaline and fear. As he broke through the tree line, he had only a moment to assess the situation before his breath caught in his throat. Yun dangled helplessly, ensnared, his face contorted with agony. Shadows danced between the trees, silhouettes filled with the promise of danger. Wang's heart raced. How could he help without drawing the attention of the guards, who must be close, having witnessed the ruckus? Shadows hissed obscenely, the foliage seemed to thrum with anticipation and spite. But pure instinct surged within him. He rushed to his friend, his mind racing through every technique of escape from folklore and myth. He remembered tales of ancient warriors trapped in impossibly secure binds. Gathering every ounce of courage, he reached for a nearby stone, praying for fortune to favor his desperate gamble. He smashed the crude binding with calculated precision, allowing Yun to crash down, breathing heavily, his limbs free yet racked with pain. "Run," Wang urged, the words almost strangled by the urgency that consumed him. But as they sprinted through the tangle of shadows, ensnared twigs and low-hanging branches clawed at their skin. Chaos was the language of escape, wrapping around their hearts with venom. Then there she was, Mu Yan, emerging from the darkness like a phantom from a forgotten tale. Tall and sinewy, her silhouette framed by the silver light of the moon, she stood poised with a spear glimmering dangerously in her hand. A shock of wild hair framed her regal yet defiant face, and her piercing gaze bore into Wang with an intensity that was chilling. There was a moment of hesitation as fear and familiarity collided. Did she come as an enemy or an ally? Wang's instincts screamed to run, hide, to evade confrontation with the warrior who felt like a wretched apparition chained to a history steeped in animosity. Yet, Mu Yan hesitated, her jaw tightening and teeth clenched, clearly conflicted. Vengeance flooded her system, but somewhere deep within resided compassion. The menacing aura faded as the reality of the situation unfolded. Here stood two desperate outsiders and a fierce protector, ensnared by customs and the legacies of their pasts. "I can't let you leave," she growled, eyes glimmering with unshed tears. "Not after what you've done." It was not a threat but rather a plea, a yearning for understanding amid a tapestry of strife that seemed woven by fate itself. But Wang could see it in her eyes, the flicker of something unspoken, an internal conflict mirrored in his own heart. "Help us," was the desperate plea he channeled into silence, each heartbeat carrying the weight of truth unsaid. Then Mu Yan did something unexpected. She lowered her spear. "Follow me," she murmured, and in that single sentence, hope ignited anew in Wang's chest. An ally's heart was a far greater weapon against the oppressive shadows than the might of any spear. They raced through the thicket, darting between trees and under the shimmering stars. The trio was a fragile assembly moved by unseen strings, prompted into a journey fueled by desperation and tentative alliances. The jungle spoke to them in a language of rustles and whispers, revealing paths only understood by those who lived within its embrace. The feminine strength of Mu Yan radiated with each leap as they traversed beneath towering canopies, a stark contrast to their earlier captivity. Wang, emboldened by the spirit of unity, questioned the sacrifices each of them was willing to make for the greater good. How could humanity exist tethered to the very concept of individual survival when faced with a deeper purpose? Even in their alliances, how far was cooperation intertwined with betrayal? The island had its own powers, ancient energies driven by bloodshed and sacrifice, and Wang's thoughts spiraled further into this ethical quagmire. each twist leading deeper into the enthralling enigma. However, as they neared the edge of the jungle, the sounds of pursuit echoed ominously behind them. The soft thuds of tribal warriors' feet on the forest floor became deafening, drowning out their breaths and amplifying the urgency creeping through each nerve. Thousands of years of sentinels, creatures bound to the land by stories written in whispers, came roaring back to life. Suddenly, Mu Yan halted, turning sharply. "You must go on. I cannot run from my kin," the torment evident in her eyes. Wang felt the walls of despair close in. She battled against the weight of family loyalty, shrouded in a legacy of hatred toward outsiders, a bitter reality that colored every decision she might make. Bound by heavy iron chains that rattled against the cold stone of the sacred prison, Wang and Yun faced a choice that neither of them had anticipated. The fervent and imposing patriarch of the clan, cloaked in elaborate robes adorned with intricate symbols of their ancestry, towered over them, eyes glinting with an intensity that seemed to pierce right through to their souls. Behind her stood an assembly of formidable women, each one a guardian of the island's ancient traditions, wielding implements of power and authority that shimmered in the dappled light filtering through the high canopy of the jungle. "Restore the sacred tree," she decreed, her voice echoing through the clearing. "Or face execution for the desecration of our sacred grounds." The ultimatum hung in the air, palpable and suffocating, pressing down on their chests like an anchor. Wang, heart hammering in his chest, realized that their very survival hinged on the legendary tree, said to be the lifeblood of the island, entwined with the fabric of time itself. The sacred tree was not merely a botanical wonder. It was the spiritual heart of the island, drawing strength from the lives and sacrifices of generations. Its ancient bark bore witness to the heartaches and victories of the clan, with each carved symbol telling a story. In their quest for answers about Wang's father and the island's lore, both young men now felt the weight of an entire people resting heavily on their shoulders. As they were led deeper into the jungle, the chirping of alien insects and the rustling foliage enveloped them in an otherworldly symphony. The air was thick with humidity and the sweet scent of blooming flora, creating a surreal juxtaposition against the anxiety curling in Wang's stomach. The hushed whispers of the clan echoed in their ears, but with each step, they felt a shift, a burgeoning understanding that they were not simply victims but potential allies in this tale woven through time. As they reached a clearing sprinkled with ethereal lights emanating from bioluminescent plants, Wang's eyes widened at the sight before him. The sacred tree rose majestically, its expansive branches resembling arms stretching upward toward the cosmos. The bark shimmered with an otherworldly luminescence, encased in droplets that glistened like liquid stars, embodying epics of wisdom and grace. Yet, there was an ominous tinge to its beauty, a sickly pallor that hinted at desperation, a hushed cry for help echoing in the air around them. The ritual required to restore it was steeped in intricate traditions, each step laden with unspoken fears and hopes. The clan women gathered around like a living tapestry, their hands interwoven as they prepared for the sacred undertaking. Wang and Yun, though tethered to the promise of inevitable doom, could feel the emotional pulse of the moment, an adhesive bond tying together their fates with the island and its people. Among the assembled women, Mu Yan, the fierce warrior who had once loomed as an enemy, now emerged as a guiding flame. Despite the undercurrents of past animosity, her determination to see the sacred tree restored mirrored Wang's own desires. Dressed in a woven tunic and adorned with battle scars that told stories of her own lifetime of conflict, she carried a vulnerability that sparked a connection, a realization that they shared a lineage of sacrifices. Without words, they understood the weight of their pasts. Each young man bore the burden of ancestral expectations, forced to navigate through the labyrinth of sacrifice. Mu Yan's fierce gaze locked onto Wang's, as she grasped his shoulder with a warmth that bridged their stark differences. In that fleeting moment, they grasped a sliver of hope, a unity forged from adversity, each of them symbolizing the bridging of two worlds. The trials ahead demanded not only physical strength but also an emotional reckoning. Centuries of tradition weighed like a crown upon their heads, balancing the dichotomy of captor and captive, ally and enemy. There flickered the ember of a dilemma, strong enough to dissolve barriers yet delicate enough to be extinguished by fear. The question loomed over them. What were they willing to sacrifice for each other, for the island, and for the truth that beckoned like a siren song? As they gathered in the presence of the sacred tree, Mu Yan shared the island's history, a tapestry of triumph and tragedy woven around the tree. Legends spoke of the ancestors who had fought valiantly to protect its sanctity, instilling a sense of unity and strength among the tribe. Yet, recent times had fractured this bond, as whispers of betrayal and fear spilled through their hearts like venom, threatening to drain the very life from their souls. The hope that hung in the air was a fragile thread, dangling between despair and determination. Wang felt the weight of his father's legacy pressing against his chest, urging him forward. Instead of focusing solely on survival, a new resolve began to blossom within him. The need to protect the sacred tree, which felt intertwined with his own lineage. The tree's life seemed akin to the search for his father. One couldn't exist without the other. In this profound connection, Wang began to understand that perhaps his own fate aligned with the island's, linked by the essence of love and sacrifice. As the ceremony began, a complex choreography unfolded. With each movement, they chanted ancient hymns that resonated with the very ground beneath them, reverberating through the trees, like a pulse echoing through a living organism. Wang and Yun, shackled yet willing, joined environmental forces, not to conquer but to restore. The merging of energies became palpable, shaking the trees surrounding them, as if ancient spirits awakened from slumber. Yet, an unsettling sensation clawed at Wang's intuition. A storm brewing on the horizon, its ominous clouds gathering in the twilight sky. It mirrored the conflicted emotions churned up inside him. This profound moment of reconnection coalescing with the impending doom that lay beneath their feet like a predator lying in wait. While they labored through the arduous tasks of the ceremony, the weight of their commitment pressed heavy upon them. The physical exhaustion began to morph into frenetic energy fueled by their emotions. What if the very act of restoration unleashed something dark? What if the ancient spirits, awakened from their dormancy, sought retribution against the intruders? Dark imaginings clashed violently with the poignant energy surrounding them as the wind, slicing through the air, seemed to whisper dire warnings about the unanticipated consequences of their actions. Gathered around the sacred tree, an ethereal glow began to radiate from its bark as the chants reached a climax. Wang felt the pulsing of the life force within the tree syncing with his heartbeat, steadying him even as dread swelled in his chest. They were on the precipice of something significant, yet terrifying. Within this circle, hearts intertwined, souls anchored to this vibrant spirit of nature. As the vibrance intensified, a bolt of energy surged through Wang's body. The tides of destiny raged like the turmoil within Wang's heart as the island prepared to face the encroaching storm of Mr. Peng and his mercenaries. The air around him crackled with tension, palpable and electric, as the distant echo of surging waves mirrored his escalating pulse. He could hear the dull thud of boots marching on the wet sands, a grim reminder that the sanctuary he had come to cherish was on the brink of destruction. The alluring beauty of the Virgin Island now starkly contrasted with the imminent threat, transforming into a battlefield ripe for chaos. Wang's mind raced with the choices that lay before him. The vibrant flora he had come to understand whispered warnings with each breeze, their leaves trembling with foreboding. The sacred tree, a luminous beacon of hope towering at the heart of the island, resonated with ancient power. Its emerald leaves shimmered, as if aware of the cataclysm about to unfold. The connection Wang felt with the island deepened, transcending mere survival. It morphed into a fight for something infinitely greater. In that moment of clarity, the wisdom shared by the clan women echoed in his soul. They had imparted tales of the island's ancient magic, stories woven into the very fabric of its existence, tales inextricably linked to the lives of those who called it home. If he failed to act, not only would he lose them but the very essence of the island, the culmination of countless sacrifices and the legacy of his father's lost expedition that had awakened something within him. Wang's eyes fell upon the intricate contraption Mr. Peng had designed, a device meant to unleash uncontainable destruction, crafted by minds blinded by greed. In that instance, he was no longer just a lost son seeking closure. He had become the guardian of a world that thrived on unity, on love, and on the intricate dance of sacrifice. The walls of captivity imposed upon him had thundered down. Now, he had a purpose that echoed through every fiber of his being. As the sun began its descent, casting a molten glow upon the tranquil waters, Wang gripped the device tightly, feeling its cold, metallic surface against his palm, his connection to the impending devastation it could inflict. His heartbeat synced with the rhythmic cadence of the ocean, as he strapped the contraption tightly to himself, embodying the island's spirit that pulsed through him. No longer a mere tool of destruction, it had become a manifest symbol of resistance and selflessness. He sprinted towards the tumultuous waves, each step heavy with the weight of his choice, and yet lighter than air as hope surged within him. Memories of laughter shared with Yun, of whispered secrets exchanged with Mu Yan, filled his mind. Each fleeting moment under the island sun was a testament to what he had come to fight for. It was this love that guided him through treacherous uncertainty, even as the darkness of greed loomed oppressively above. The ocean welcomed him with fierce embrace, waves crashing against him in a furious swirl. As he plunged beneath the surface, the icy water stung, yet the chill was comforting, a reminder of his humanity, a stark contrast to the burning resolve that ignited his spirit. With every stroke, he felt himself drawn towards the horizon, towards Mr. Peng's advancing hull, towards the darkness that sought to smother the very light he had come to cherish. As he emerged from the depths, gasping for the warm air that seemed distant, the traces of the device began to glow faintly. It pulsed with energy, attuned to the island around him, resonating with the very essence of its ancient magic. In that fleeting moment, he could sense the whispers of the sacred tree, reaching through time, pulling him closer to the heart of the island. It was a synchrony of purpose and passion, a union that transcended reality. Amidst the chaos, he could see shadows moving aboard the ship, familiar silhouettes amidst the encroaching doom. They were unaware of the impending confrontation as Wang ducked beneath the water's surface once more, stealthily swimming closer to the hull. The rhythm of his heart mirrored the ticking countdown of the device, each beat accentuating the urgency of his mission. He was no longer just Wang, he was now the embodiment of the island, a sentinel standing against invasion. Seconds felt like hours as he glided through the water, fueled by adrenaline and the unyielding desire to protect the sanctuary he had grown to love. Images of his father floated in his mind like smoke, every adventure, every laugh, every lesson. Was this what his father had wanted for him? To become part of something greater than himself, to honor the sacrifices made in the name of love? A sudden swell of emotion surged through him. It was as if the island itself whispered encouragement, urging him onward. With a powerful pull, he surfaced, inches away from the ship's hull. The device shimmered in response to Wang's will. A vibrant energy surged through him. responding to the essence of the island, enlivened by his selflessness. He positioned himself carefully, readying for the monumental release of energy that could extinguish the threat once and for all. With the crew unaware of his presence, the world around him faded into a slow-motion blur, as he focused solely on the radiant magic he now bore, the result of love, friendship, and sacrifice intertwined. Stealthily, he maneuvered himself into position, feelings of nostalgia lingering like a delicate fragrance in the air, memories of smiling faces and joyous moments fueling his determination. The explosion that would follow would not only obliterate the mercenaries but would also ignite a light that could awaken the dormant magic of the Virgin Island. He felt it within him, the embodiment of courage and desperation melded into a singular purpose. In the final moment of clarity, Wang took a deep breath, drawing in the beauty of the ocean, the rustling leaves of the sacred tree, and the warmth of human connection. A single tear escaped as he pressed the ignition button. The device emitted a blinding light, illuminating the ocean depths. What followed was a tumultuous symphony of sound and light, a deafening roar that reverberated through the water. The collision unleashed a magnificent explosion. Brilliant shades of blue and gold swallowed the horizon. It pulsated like a heartbeat, transcending time and space, weaving the threads of life into a breathtaking tapestry. As everything erupted into chaos, Wang felt an overwhelming force envelop him, spiraling through darkness towards a realm of brilliant light. It was as if time slowed, the island itself reaching out to cradle him. The warmth that followed was soft like a mother's embrace, pulling him back from the void. Instead of drowning in despair, he found himself amidst a luminescent sanctuary where the souls of those he loved, and those who sacrificed, gathered, their spirits merged in a dance of transcendence. Wang's eyes fluttered open, and he gasped, no longer submerged but suspended in a breathtaking realm of vivid colors. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.